welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our August 23rd, 2021 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what Mike will be doing at DragonCon. We're going to be talking about the final episode of Superman and Lois for Season 1. We're going to be talking about upcoming new episodes of Supergirl returning, comic books, what's happening in the world of Superman all over the place, and so much more. We're also going to turn to you to ask your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to the King of DragonCon, Michael Bailey.
Hey, Steve. I think that's going a little far, but I appreciate it anyways. But
how are you?
Yeah, I'd say I'm good. I was up at 5 this morning. Go to the gym.
Good.
Before work.
Nice.
I'm still not a fan, but I went, so that's the important thing. But nobody wants to hear about me going to the gym. I'm kind of doubtful that they want to hear about what I'm doing at DragonCon, but what they want to hear about is Superman, because Superman Homepage Live is all about Superman. Therefore, we want to hear from the people that are watching us live right now on YouTube. So, if we don't have a whole lot on the docket, which tonight's a little light, and we can make the technology work, we do want to take callers. So how do you do that? Well, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, find the Superman homepage, and message us that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple things, and these are important. One, message us. Don't just call. That can mess things up completely. And two, if you are using an external speaker to watch Superman Homepage Live, please turn that, mute that while you're on the phone with us, because we're on a bit of a delay and that can screw things up.
Yes, people complaining about my sound. Let me know if all is good now. I think I've fixed up the issue, I hope. But if it's not, let me know and I will make some adjustments. But yes, so I sound okay to you, Michael?
Yeah, sound fine to me.
Okay, well, Ollie's saying it's better now, so that's good. Excellent. That's the least of our concerns as far as technical issues of this episode. Then
Yes.
We're doing pretty good. But yes, so get involved, as Michael has just explained, and we'd also like you to get involved through the YouTube comments. So on YouTube there, the comments below, type your comments, ask questions. Michael and I will react to those as the show goes on. And if you'd like your comment or question featured on the screen, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the little dollar symbol there. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question on the screen as the show goes to air. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And remember, if you want to support the Superman homepage and the show, all you have to do is hit the join button below there on YouTube, or click or go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Michael changed background poster, a JSA one, people are noticing.
Yes, technically Superman is in the poster, so it does count, but I found one of my promo posters that I've been kind of searching for years at a decent price, so I just put it up. And actually, the way I did the posters, it's a lot brighter in here, so that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, but yeah, please continue to let me know if the sound is not working that well, and I will endeavour to adjust it and make some adjustments. All right, as we start with, we mentioned DragonCon to begin with. Michael, you are hosting a number of Superman panels at DragonCon 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, which runs from September 2nd to September 6th. Where exactly is it? Is there a convention center there, or where is it being held?
So DragonCon's kind of different because it's not held at a convention center. Atlanta does have the Georgia World Congress Center, which is a huge convention center. It would not contain DragonCon. This thing is huge. There are 5 host hotels. The Hilton, the Hyatt, and the Marriott are all right next to each other. They're the main ones, and there's spillover to the Westin and the Sheraton. And the Meramart, which is another weird thing in Atlanta, is taken over with it. So it's gigantic. It's going to be very different this year. They are taking COVID precautions very seriously, and I'm really happy about that. You have to be vaccinated, or you have to have a negative test, and you have to wear a mask when you're in the convention areas. So they've cut down on the number of panels. There's going to be all of the tracks, which DragonCon, if you not know, is made up of a bunch of different tracks that are based on different subjects. There's like Star Wars, the Star Trek, a Brit track, etc. There's going to be where they would usually have a panel. They're going to shut the thing down and have a deep cleaning of the room like 2 or 3 times a day. And they're cutting down on the amount of people allowed in a room at any given time. So I don't know how it's going to go or how crazy it's going to get, but one of the tracks that I'm involved with is called the American Sci-Fi Classics track, and they handle older science fiction stuff. One of the panels, 2 of the panels that I'm on this year that involve Superman, one's going to be about Superman 2 and the 40th anniversary of the American release, and another will be like kind of a Smallville retrospective, and those are fan-based panels. They get stuff that has been over for 10 years. And because of that, they got Smallville this year. And because of that, they are the ones hosting the Smallville celebrity panels. So on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will be moderating, or in the case of Michael Rosenbaum, just getting completely out of the way, because Michael Rosenbaum on a panel is apparently a force of nature. I'm going to be moderating the celebrity panels, and it's going to be some combination of Tom Welling, Laura Vandervoort, Michael Rosenbaum, and Sam Witwer.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to those because I'll get to meet them like one-on-one instead of having to pay like $40 for an autograph. I'll actually get to meet them, and I don't know how those are going to go because it's their panels, so it's really up to them. I've only done one celebrity moderating panel before, and it went well. So I'm just going to kind of base my thing off of that, but I think these are going to be a little bigger. But yeah, it's going to be getting out of Michael Rosenbaum's way. I said that before, but I'm really meaning that. I don't know how those are going to go. The ones with Rosenbaum, I may be just sitting there watching them on stage. That's fine too. I'm okay. Like I said, they're there for them. One of the other panels I'll be doing for the American Sci-Fi Fantasy track, it's kind of got a longer name, it's going to be kind of a battle royale of the Superman. About 4 or 5 of us are going to sit there and try to decide who is the best on-screen version of Superman, which will be fun.
In the description it says from George Reeves to Tyler Hoechlin. Are you going to leave out Kirk Allen?
I won't. But these things happen. Rebecca Johnson, who's been a guest of the Radio KAL Live days, when you would be on assignment, she would sometimes come on with me. She's going to be on there too, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
And a couple other people. It's going to be. I was surprised at the amount of Superman this year. My co-hosts from the Superman and Lois tapes are getting to do various Superman and Lois things for the track, for the American science fiction fantasy track. And Tyler Hoechlin's going to be there Friday and Saturday. So I'm really going to go try and at least meet him, maybe get an autograph or something, off the table. Again, I don't know how any of this is going to go. I don't know, because I've seen other conventions where they have plexiglass.
Yeah.
Like the people seated at their table, but there's plexiglass between them and the guests, which I think is probably the smartest way to do this.
For sure.
But no, it's a very Superman heavy year, and that's not normal. The last time it was this heavy was 3 years ago in 2018. So it's I'm nervous.
I was about to ask you, do you get starstruck? Do you get nervous? I mean, I know you're a person who would very much plan and try to, have notes and all that kind of thing. You wouldn't just leave it, you wouldn't just wing it. But obviously with Michael Rosenbaum, as you said, this kind of things have a life of their own, and you've just got to kind of, bring them back to some kind of a pattern. But do you get nervous? Do you get starstruck meeting these people?
The only time I have ever gotten starstruck was meeting Dina Meyer, who played Barbara Gordon on Birds of Prey. She was Oracle, and she was in Starship Troopers and Dragonheart, and been all over television and movies. But that's only because I had a serious crush on her in the '90s, and she is still staggeringly beautiful.
Mm.
So it was literally like I met like the entire cast of Birds of Prey. I was fine with all of them except her. Her, I was just like, hey, how you doing? I try not to. I don't know how it's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna be like being in the presence of Tom Welling because he's so freaking tall. Like I don't know what that's gonna do to me because sometimes as a short guy,
At least he'll be
like
sitting
overly
down.
tall, like all overly tall people, but
Yeah.
Sam Witwer, um, who was Doomsday. God, what was his name on the show?
Um,
It just completely
Someone in the
disappeared from me.
comments will, yeah, someone in the comments will
Yeah,
bring it up.
but Davis Bloom. Davis
Yes,
Bloom.
that's it.
He's a fan,
Mm.
and he's got a big geeky side. So I don't think I think it's going to be fine, meeting them.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be kind of cool because Rosenbaum does a podcast, and I've listened to so many episodes of it. It's like, yeah, there's that parasocial relationship. I
Yeah.
don't know him,
Hmm.
but I know he's a pretty cool, chill guy. He's
Yeah.
just very excitable and likes to be on.
I've met
Um,
Michael at Metropolis, the Superman celebration. We just had like a half-hour chat, and I videoed some of it first, unbeknownst to him, and then he realised he was on video, so he played nice. No, but he is a really nice guy. He's just very laid back, very easy to
yeah.
talk to, just very sociable. Is any of this going to be streamed, or will we be able to watch it later on online?
So I think DragonCon does have a subscription on YouTube for their main programming,
Mm.
and I believe that the Smallville panels are part of the main programming.
Okay, cool.
So you have to pay like a small subscription fee. It's not that much, but let me tell you guys, DragonCon TV is a lot of fun. Anyways, they have filmed years and years of skits and songs and stuff that they also show
Cool.
that me and my wife would watch in the hotel rooms. Once I know more about that,
Yeah.
I'll let you know so that you can put links up. Yeah, it's just it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's just so weird to me that 20 years ago I was looking forward to the premiere of Smallville, and now it's 2 decades later, and I actually get to meet these people and like present them to a larger group. It's just like this. I knew about it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I didn't want to talk about it because these things, people are canceling all the time, and the fact of the matter is, people could still cancel.
For sure.
Right up to it. Erica Durance was involved at one point. I have not seen her name.
Mm.
So she may have had to cancel, which is a little disappointing, but, especially since they've talked about super journalists. But, yeah, it's just really surreal to think that, like, 20 years ago, I sent you an email because I wanted to review for the Superman homepage, and now I'm, like, getting to present these people, and it's just... I'm excited, but it's like I don't want to get too excited about it.
Yeah, no, I can understand how you feel, and that's great. It's well deserved, and I'm looking forward to seeing it if possible, to catch a video of it. So well done, sir, and wish you all the best with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, well, let's get on to Superman and Lois. The season 1 finale aired last week in the US and here in Australia and everywhere else in the world that has it at the moment. And it was titled Last Sons of Krypton. As the finale went, it felt like I mean, it was a great finale, don't get me wrong, but it felt like we had 3 or 4 finales already up to that point. So it wasn't like it was a real, out of the park kind of a hit episode, but it was still a very strong episode, and there were some very touching moments and some really good action. What did you make of this episode, all in all?
I really enjoyed it. I remember getting to where they've wrapped everything up. You know, Tal-Rho has been stopped. Jordan is free. You know, John Henry was saved. You know, like everybody's there, and I'm like, wow, we've got like 15 more minutes of this episode. And it's the strength of the series that they took 15 minutes for the denouement to just deal with all the characters and their relationships and where they're going. And of course we get the little tease for next season. But I just really appreciated that a show that is built on relationships ended not with like a, you know, it had a slam bang finale. I mean, Superman really mixed it up with those Kryptonians.
Yeah.
But I was just as invested in watching Lana and Clark talk, and Kyle and Lois have their moment, and Sam Lane talking about stepping down from active duty, and Lois and John Henry, and like everybody getting kind of their moment to like, you know, we've come through this, we're stronger for it. Now let's set up, which sets up the funeral for Jorel.
Mm-hmm.
For people who watched it on the CW, there was a scene that was shown during the extended cut on the CW site of him collecting the crystal at the fortress, at the ruins of the fortress. Apparently that wasn't on the aired version here in the States.
It was here in the States. So yeah, that's it's interesting to hear that.
I think you guys get a little more than we do because the advertising isn't as extensive for y'all as it is for us. I mean, these are like 40-minute shows out of an hour, so that means there's like 20 minutes of commercials. Yeah, exactly. But no, I thought that was a really like sweet scene. The one place I got nervous, and I was about to start yelling at my phone because that's what I was watching on it, is Superman's doing his interview with Chrissy, and she says, "How do you know so much about Smallville?" And I'm like, don't reveal the identity.
Yeah,
don't reveal the identity. Don't do it. Don't do it. And they did it. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that there.
Because apparently I'm not the only one that felt this way, but it was just like this moment of panic. I was like, don't get to the end and taint this entire season. But no, they didn't do that. I really enjoyed it. I was particularly touched by Lois bringing Jordan out of it. Out of the control. I thought that was a really sweet scene.
Well, that was one of the questions, of many questions that John Patrick Van Pelt was asked in the comments. What were those things on Jordan and Lois's head? What is it called? Because I believe the Flash did something similar. Well, they are similar in that this is a contraption that enables one person to go into another person's memories or psyche and get in there, and you know, it's sci-fi, obviously, science fiction, science. Yeah, so Lois was able to go in there, delve through memories, try to get to the core of, get past Tal-Rho's consciousness into and find Jordan's consciousness and bring him out, bring him to the fore to fight for control of his body. And also Jonathan, and that chokehold scene where Jonathan tells his brother that he loves him was obviously the catalyst that brought him out and gave him the strength to defeat the Tal-Rho Kryptonian consciousness.
Yeah. Though, props to Alex Garfin for changing his Twitter handle to Zeta Rho.
Zeta Rho, yes.
And having his profile picture be like him with all the heat vision eyes. So I thought, I was like, yeah, this is a man that knows.
Into it.
He knows what he's doing. That's very good.
Since Jordan was saved by Jonathan and Lois, how do you think the family is going to move forward? Well, I think they're pretty resilient. I think they just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, they're in a much better position than they were at the beginning of the season or the series.
Yeah.
You know, they're honest with the kids about him being Superman. Jordan's got his powers. He's got a girlfriend. Jonathan seems to be kind of heading towards having a girlfriend as well. I think they're good and settled. I mean, and Lois bought into the Smallville Gazette, so
Yeah, that was an interesting turn of events. John's also asking here, what did you think of Superman telling the public about where Morgan Edge was from and the fact that he was Kryptonian and all that kind of stuff? I guess that's true to form for Superman because he doesn't like to lie to the public.
yeah. My favorite thing about that, and it's kind of funny to watch different people deal with different. How do I want to say this? Different tropes. And when Chrissy asks Superman, "Do you think people are going to be afraid of you?" I loved that his answer was, "I can't control that."
Yeah.
And it's I think that is the best way to handle it. I think people get lost in. I mean, Batman v Superman was all about people getting lost in fearing what Superman could do. And here we have a Superman who's been around for 20 years, and he's just like, I can't control people being afraid of me. I can only try to do my best to make sure that they're not.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good, solid moment for him.
Yeah, for sure. Now, at the end of the episode, John Henry Irons was looking like he was going to leave Smallville and go maybe find his sister on this planet or this version of Earth. But instead, we get a surprise visitor landing on the Smallville farm, having tracked his signal of his battle suit, and it ends up being Natalie, his daughter from his Earth, having crossed over into our Earth and reuniting with her father, but also being shocked at the sight of what to her is her mother.
Yeah, I thought that was a really strong way to end the season. To kind of give us a hint of, like that's our oh my God, where is this going moment for the hiatus. I was shocked that it wasn't Mon-El. I figure it's like the end of the first season. We've got a pod landing on the Super Show. It's going to be Mon-El, but I turned out to be wrong about that. The genius of having Natalie come in is that John Henry has pretty much come to terms with the fact that this isn't his Lois, and that's why he was going to move on. He couldn't stand, it's like, I accept that this is the reality of the situation, but I am not down with all of this.
Yeah, I'm not, why punish myself?
Yeah. And you can't expect that of a kid.
No.
Of a teenager who lost their mother. I mean, it's just like who watched their mother die live on television, and there is someone that looks just like them.
And it's also, from Lois's point of view, the daughter that she lost in childbirth.
Yeah.
Or as a baby or in pregnancy. So while it's obviously not her Natalie, it is a Natalie that she aimed to call her daughter's name that she lost during the pregnancy. So for her, there's an emotional connection there as well.
Yeah, and that will probably be one of the undercurrents of the season of dealing with that, and how are they going to come to terms with it. I know we've got it on the docket, but Todd Helbing has some. It seems like they've got some pretty strong ideas of where the show's going to go.
Yeah, well, let's look at what Todd had to say in regards to some of the interviews that he did this past week with CBR.com and TV Line and others, as to where they're going, or what they the overall takeaway from season one, and then what their plans are for season two. He seems to have a really good handle on the characters as far as Superman and Lois are concerned, and the tropes that are easy to fall into, but that they're still wanting to be able to pay tribute and homage to the past stories, but also take things in their own direction.
Yeah, the best thing I read in that entire interview was the villain next season isn't going to be Kryptonian.
Which is great.
The Flash, as much as I like the Flash as a show, it has fallen into the trope that just about every season the bad guy is a speedster, And I get it. There's a lot of evil speedsters to choose from, but the Flash has a lot of other villains as well. And I also like that apparently they've got on deck more Killgrave type villains to kind of throw at him, and that they're going to give Lois a villain that is separate from what Superman has to deal with. So it's just, I like that, because it's like they're looking at what has worked and what hasn't worked. And yeah, every season finding a new Kryptonian to throw at Superman would get really annoying really fast.
Pretty boring, pretty quick. What can we say as far as season 2 is concerned in terms of new characters? Like I said, Killgrave in the wheelhouse. Supergirl was on for a while, and they used a lot of villains there. So they're trying to use new villains that they haven't used on Supergirl, or to reinvent some villains in a way that makes sense to Superman and Lois. And I guess that was one of the criticisms of Supergirl, was that she used a lot of Superman's own villains, and so now people are going, well, they've already used this and they've already used that and they've already used that on Supergirl. How can they go in a different direction for Superman? But there are a number of Superman rogues gallery that haven't been used on Supergirl, or different versions of them that they could go with for Superman and Lois in season 2.
And we haven't seen him really deal with Lex.
No.
And I'd be interested to see where they would take that. But they could bring in Brainiac. They could bring in the prankster
Yes.
of all people.
Mixes.
Maybe not Toy Man, because that's pretty much. I'd like to see what Mixie does with this Superman.
And he can look
because I really
version of himself. Doesn't have to be the same actors that were in Supergirl.
That would be funny. Just keep changing the actor every time he goes to a new series.
Plus,
that would be a lot of fun.
The special effects that they've been able to do on Superman and Lois, they could actually do an imp. It doesn't have to be an actor.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can do some computer animation there.
Yeah.
Superman has a pretty deep rogues gallery.
Yeah,
and
Brainiac, and
I mean, Krypton proved that you can do a really good live action Brainiac. So why not do it?
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, we're looking forward to season 2. Obviously, as we said, Natalie will be. We now know that she has the actress who plays her will be a recurring. Has been bumped to a series regular. Taylor Buck is her name. She has now been included as a series regular for season 2. So we look forward to seeing her journey as a character continue on season 2. We know that the actress playing Chrissy Beppo is now a series regular as well, and as you've mentioned, Lois has bought into half of the Smallville Gazette, so Lois will obviously be very heavily involved there. Yeah, there's heaps to look forward to in season 2. I'm looking forward to it.
Steve Brown in the chat said Nuclear Man. Actually, I'm down with that. I'd like to see them bring Nuclear Man, and in that costume. Don't wuss out on us. Put him in that outfit. Come on.
Now, I just posted earlier before the show that season 1 of Superman and Lois will be coming to HBO Max on September 17th. So starting September 17th, HBO Max subscribers will be able to watch all 15 episodes of Superman and Lois. I don't know how long for. They don't necessarily state when they take these things off. I imagine things stay on HBO Max for at least 6 months, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, Batwoman, the first and second season of Batwoman, or at least the first season, is still on there. So I don't see why they wouldn't leave it on there instead of putting it on Netflix, where the other, like a lot of the other CW shows. Which, by the way, because of another panel I'm doing at DragonCon, I'm rewatching Crisis. It's kind of annoying to have to jump between a couple different streaming services to watch the whole thing. But I dealt with it.
Yeah. So September 17th, HBO Max subscribers, you'll be able to watch the entire first season of Superman and Lois all over again. Of course, it's still available on the CW app at the moment as well. And the complete first season will be released on Blu-ray and DVD from October 19th. Links are up on our website. All right, we're at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break, play some messages, and then we're going to come back after the break to talk about Supergirl, the return of new episodes tomorrow night, and then we will do our fan favourite segment, This Week in History, and get into the comic book side of things as well. We're back right after this.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Superman!
Uh-oh, sounds like Lisa and Scott are trapped in the icy cave of that frosty-faced villain, Captain Cold. This is a job for Superman.
My fast freeze zapper will freeze Superman forever.
No way, Captain. Here, kids, my new Superman hot cocoa mix is the super tasting way to warm up.
It's really sweet. And chocolatey.
And see, Captain Cold can't take this warm reception. New Superman hot cocoa, the super tasting way to warm up.
We're back on Superman Homepage Live, where, as I mentioned before the break, Supergirl is returning tomorrow night for its 8th episode of its 6th and final season. We will have a run of new episodes leading into the remainder of, I think it's 13 episodes to go for the final season of Supergirl. Sorry, the 7th episode, I think it is, that tomorrow night. We do have photos for the 8th episode of Supergirl, titled Dreamweaver, or it might be the 9th. I've got my notes here mixed up. But here are some of the photos here for Dreamweaver. Turn off Superman and Lois right there. So here are some of the photos leading into the episode titled Dreamweaver, which will obviously be focused on Nia Null, Dreamer. So a couple of photos there of that episode coming in next week, August 31st, that one.
Yeah, very excited.
And as I mentioned, obviously new episodes tomorrow night. And then from that point onwards, we have the description for the 10th episode of Supergirl, which is titled Still I Rise. And in this episode, it's described as Supergirl intervenes when a building in the Heights that was set aside for low-income housing is suddenly at risk to be sold to a major corporation. Supergirl recruits Orlando to help her win over the city, but things go awry when Nixley shows up. Meanwhile, Nia trained with her mother. Interesting. I thought her mother was past.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of her mother. I was wondering where that was going, so that's going to be interesting to see. Because I like Nia. I like Nia as a character. Kind of wish more of the episodes were focused on Kara.
Yes.
But
especially in the finals.
Can't always get what you want.
No, exactly. But the cast have been doing a number of little videos discussing things like who is the most competitive cast member of the Supergirl cast.
I love this game. The person who would win game night on the cast is obviously Me. Game night was a staple in my family. Me.
Danvers sisters, yes we can. If you can't do it, Danvers can.
No.
Nicole would probably really win game night because she's young and hip and knows stuff.
I would destroy them.
I play a lot of board games. Nicole is probably a second.
Some couples need to work on their communication skills, and others need to work on their competitive trivia skills.
I'm not fun to play in board games. I get very competitive and I take all the fun out of it because I take it way too seriously.
It is a business affair game night. You play to win, you don't play to have smiles and a good time.
My house, my rules. It would be Jesse Rath.
I don't understand this game. These are not kittens, nor do they explode. Melissa?
Board game queen.
I'm not competitive at all.
There you have it. They all seem pretty competitive. It seems like it would be a fun night sitting in with those guys.
It's like playing games with my wife. God, my wife is so competitive. It's serious. I mean, you're competitive too. Are you the type to want to flip the table if the game doesn't go your way? Okay, I get it. I'll remember that.
I don't think I'm that bad.
Together.
But yeah, I do have a mean streak in me when it comes to being competitive. But here's another video of the cast talking about what they've learned from being on Supergirl.
Something I've learned from Supergirl is that you are always stronger than you think you are. There is always an inner strength that you never know you have.
Where did you hear that?
Supergirl told me.
Something I learned from Supergirl is that directing is a lot of fun. And I thank Supergirl for giving me that opportunity. Everyone take your position.
So there's just a bit of that video of them talking about what they've learnt being part of the show and from the character herself. So you can watch that entire video at our website. I imagine there would be a lot of learning curves being a part of the show. And as David Harewood mentioned there, he became a director or directed a couple of episodes. So there would be a lot of learning from a professional point of view, not just as a person.
It's a little bit it throws me off a little when he uses his natural speaking voice, because his John Jones / Hank Haywood voice is very direct, and you can tell he's. It depends, different British actors have different ways of dealing with the absence of the accent, and I think it seems like he does his by just kind of focusing on the delivery of the lines, but just seeing him talk naturally, it's like, oh yeah, he's British.
They get that with all the Titans cast members as well. All right, let's go into our fan favorite segment of our show. All right, well, what was our fan favorite question from last week, Michael?
What was your favorite episode of Superman the Animated Series? And Rommel wrote in saying, my fave episode was Stolen Memories, because I was glad to see Brainiac's betrayal done so well. Also, the tech of the Fortress of Solitude.
Yes, awesome. I love that episode as well. Stephen Marshall wrote in saying, this one is hard for me because Superman the Animated Series is my favourite ever version of Superman in any medium. But pushed, I would say the series finale, Legacy, was my favourite, where Darkseid turns Superman into his own personal soldier. The ending where Superman kicks Darkseid's rear end was so satisfying, but it also shows that Superman can never truly win against Darkseid. It's a dark lesson for the Man of Steel, and it nicely sets up where the DCAU would go with Justice League Unlimited. Very nice.
Justin Suarez wrote, my favorite Superman the Animated Series episode is Apocalypse Now, parts 1 and 2. Dedicated to Jack Kirby, the plot was well written. Darkseid showed up with heavy force. The villain that he is, with killing Dan Turpin. The death of a character was never seen in this series of a loved character. When you're a kid watching this in the late 90s, it would have had some kind of impact. Just as bad as the death of Optimus Prime in Transformers the movie.
There you go, yes.
Maybe.
Jack Rocho wrote in saying, I would say some of the best episodes of Superman the Animated Series are 2 parts. That being said, to be fair, I'll go with The Main Man Part 1. My girlfriend, who is also a fan of Superman Homepage Live, picked Livewire as her favourite episode. Funny story, we were watching Point Break and she identified Laurie Petty as Livewire and said, "Oh, yeah, it's so cool."
She has a very distinctive voice. So, yeah. Ron Crosby wrote in, I know I missed last week's question, but I wanted to mention that my favorite episode of Smallville is Run. The ending when Clark and Bart race is just so good. Looking back, I also really like how the show wasn't afraid to make guest characters better than their main character at something, unlike so many shows today. Shows now would have had Clark win the race because it's his show. As for this week's question, my favorite Superman the Animated Series episode is probably Apocalypse Now. Sorry if I got the title of the episode wrong, but the one where Darkseid kills Dan at the end. Just as the finale of the Justice League cartoon is my favorite, Superman versus Darkseid just makes for a good story. Very close runner-up would be the episode with Mr. McCheskey. Seeing Clark use his brain and send him back to the fifth dimension pretty much as soon as he showed up was just entertaining. So one fairly dark episode and one lighthearted, but they both come in high on my list.
Very cool. Thank you, Ron. John Patrick Van Pelt wrote in. He said, here's a list of my top five Superman Animated Series episodes. World's Finest, the 3 parts from Season 2. Nighttime from Season 3. Feeding Time from Season 1. Little Girl Lost, the 2-part episode. And Speed Demons. Well, thank you, John. There are 5 pretty good episodes, I must admit.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, I would say that my favorite episode of Superman the Animated Series would be the 3-part World's Finest, because I'm a longtime fan of stories wherein Superman teams up with Batman.
Thank you, Ryan. Jason J wrote in. He said, my favorite animated episode of Superman is Mixie's Pixelated. I like how it references many ideas from the first appearance of Mixie in the Golden Age. Hey, McGurk! Also, I'd like to mention I really enjoyed that the This Week in History comics history segment. Michael pointing out some of info about Action 525 made me want to dig it out and give it an enjoyable reread. Well, thank you, Jason. It's nice to know that people are appreciating that. That's this week's fan favourite segment. A lot of responses. Thank you, everyone, for those. Michael, do you have a favourite Superman the Animated Series episode?
My heart says Nighttime just because it was really funny to watch Superman dressed as Batman beating the Shaz out of Bane. You know, I would say, what is the name of the episode? The Late Mr. Kent?
Yeah.
Such a good episode. And it had almost like Tales from the Crypt ending, too. Right. Where that cop goes and is about to be executed and he realizes what's going on, and it's just as he's about to die, it was just such a great, for a show that did not focus on Clark Kent, they at least gave one episode over to Clark Kent as a character, and I really appreciated that.
It was a very mature episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm, yeah. No, it's funny because when they did Superman Doomsday, I remember one of the featurettes, they're like, we wanted to change the animation and make it less kiddified than the Superman the Animated Series, and that's when I noticed that when you compare it to the later direct to digital animated films, yes, it does look a little not bad, but it looks like less adult. Yeah. But man, it was such a good show. I can't believe that was 25 years ago.
I know. I absolutely adored it when it came out, and it's no surprise that with Mixie being one of my favourite characters in Superman lore, that Mixie's Pixelated is also one of my favourite episodes. I just love the humour in that, and I love Gilbert Gottfried as the voice of Mixie, especially when he's getting so frustrated and
My favorite part of that entire episode that didn't directly involve Gilbert Gottfried was when Clark was just sitting there waiting for him to show up. And Lois is like, what's going on? I got somebody who's coming into town. Man, I really hate that. And it was just he was just waiting. He had the trap laid. Mixie, he sprung it, and he's gone. It was just such a well-done episode.
Yeah, it is. The comedic timing is just perfect. So thank you, everyone, for getting involved in this week's fan favourite segment. What is our new question for this week, Michael?
Who is your favorite character on Superman and Lois, and why?
Yeah, when I
It's a
was
good
asking
question.
this question, I was almost going to say other than Superman and Lois, but they might not necessarily be, like with Supergirl or with Smallville, that the main characters are necessarily the favorites, because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of strong characters in Superman and Lois. And even if Superman or Lois is your favorite, I want to hear why, because there are a lot of different opinions on those two characters, especially. So, yeah, get involved in the fan favorite segment of our show. The email address is there at the bottom of your screen, info@supermanhomepage.com, and let us know who your favorite character on Superman and Lois is and why. So we look forward to reading your responses when we return to this segment next week. All right, here is the intro for This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bubble of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Alrighty, not a whole lot, especially compared to last week. But we started in 1961 with Justice League of America #7. Superman is not on the cover to this book.
I don't.
That's it's kind of a frightening cover, but he was in the story. Jumping ahead to 1971, you had Justice League of America #93, which looks like it had 2 stories in it. Very busy cover on this one. Not a really big fan of it. But also that same year, you had Superboy, #178, with Neil Adams drawing a Man-Bat-esque Superboy. Man, those covers were great. I really I like the covers that Neil Adams did, because sometimes they... Yeah, that's a horror comic. That's not an issue of Superboy. So, also that same year, Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, #115, My Death by Lois Lane, and I was like, Lois, good Lord, what's happened to you? And she's dead on this cover. But that's also got a Rose and Thorn backup, and also a Lady Danger backup, which I'm kind of fascinated with. Jumping ahead to 1991, we have Adventures of Superman #483, which is a beautiful Jerry Ordway cover with Blind Spot that you may not notice sitting on top of that door. So this is right after Superman, the Man of Steel came out, so it's a kind of a favorite era of mine. Jumping ahead to 2001, we have Action Comics #782, which I believe is the last of the Our Worlds at War crossover issues. This was the Casualties of War week. It says it right there, the end. And that's a busy cover. Jumping ahead to 2011, this is weird. We were talking about this before we started recording tonight. Action Comics #904, the last issue of Action Comics. Supposedly. This is also the finale to the Reign of the Doomsdays storyline. A lot of people say that this version of Superman didn't get like his version of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, like the pre-crisis Superman got.
Yep.
I'd argue that Reign of the Doomsdays is that story for this version of Superman, simply because of everything, all the characters that popped up during it. And I think he was defined by Doomsday, so I really liked this this cover. Axel Jimenez did the art on that, and I just thought it was fantastic. Also that week, Superman, or DC Retroactive Superman, the 90s, #1, which has a John Bogdanove cover with looking like Lex Luthor in a Superman costume. That special was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we also had Flashpoint Project Superman #3, which is the final issue of that series. I forgot that Scott Snyder plotted that one. And this last one, I think, is really flown under the radar, but I enjoyed it. Superman Beyond #0. This was a good book. I don't know if you remember it all that much,
Yeah, no, I
Steve.
do.
But I really thought Tom DeFalco with Ron Frenz and Sal Buscema on art, really delivered a solid story of that version of Superman.
Yeah, for sure.
In the real world, on August 24th, if I could make that go down a little bit. Why did you do that to me, computer? August 24th. Darn it. Move. There we go. Anyways, Superman returned from the dead on August 24th in 1993, and Superman number 82. You would think that I would have that memorized. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week in history.
Fantastic. So thank you. That was This Week in History. Some pretty interesting covers and looking back at some of those comic books back in the day. All right, let's move forward and look at... speaking of Superman the Animated Series, as we were before, of your favourite episodes, the DC Kids YouTube channel released a video of Superman's greatest saves from Superman the Animated Series. Let's have a look at some of that video right now.
Bet you this beats the dog and pony shows back home.
Time to crash the party, gentlemen.
Excuse me. I'd like to say that I view the Lexo suit not as an instrument of war, but as an instrument to end war.
You can watch all 12 minutes of that video on our website, Heroic Rescues from Superman the Animated Series, Superman's Greatest Saves. So check that out on our website. And yeah, that just reminds me how much I love that animated series. There's also another snippet from the Super Friends cartoons that you can watch on our website from the 3rd episode of the 1st season of Super Friends, Professor Goodfellow's Geek, which is interesting, spelled Geec. And what's interesting, I'm just going to play a little bit of this because it's kind of, here we are in 1973, and yet it's kind of reminiscent of what's going on now. Check this out.
Free geek service to anyone who wants it.
Goodfellow made that announcement a month ago.
And since that time, most of the people have subscribed to geek service.
It's a serious situation. The geek has completely changed the lifestyle of the world.
In what way?
I'll show you. Look out the window at what used to be a busy downtown street.
Great Neptune. Where is everyone?
Geek subscribers are all at home. Men don't have to go to their jobs anymore. Women don't have to go shopping. The good old geek takes care of everything. Whatever they need at home is delivered by these geek trucks. No drivers.
That truck is carrying supplies.
What's so funny about that? I know you couldn't hear the audio from your end, Michael, but just the geek has changed the world, which is pretty much true. And
they usually do it.
But the funny part of that, and it's so dated, was that now that the geek controls everything and nobody has to do anything, men don't go to their jobs anymore and women don't have to go shopping.
Oh, God. Systemic misogyny is funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah, that
dated.
It was 1973, wasn't it?
It was. So you can watch that snippet on our website as well, but I just have to play that here and there, here right now. Okay, looking at the comic books that are coming out this week, and it is a big week for Superman fans reading comic books. This is what you have to look forward to this week. We have Action Comics 1034, which is available in this variant cover. We also have Batman Superman number 21, which is also available in this variant cover. Then we have the print edition of Ruby Justice League number 5, which is also available in a variant cover. Then the big one, the first issue of Superman 78, the 6-issue miniseries that is set in the world of Superman the movie, the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner films, and that is available in a couple of variant covers, and there's a few of them on your screen right now. Also this week, Superman Son of Kal-El #2 is out this week, and that is also available in this variant cover, and then a Suicide Squad version for some reason. Also out this week, Superman vs. Lobo #1. That is a new limited edition miniseries, and limited series miniseries, I should say, and that's available in a sketch Lobo cover there, a weird looking variant cover as well, and then this variant cover right there. So a big week for Superman fans reading comic books, a number of big new issues.
Why is DC dropping every Superman book in 1 week?
Some of them were delayed, like Action Comics 1000.
Okay.
Let me see. Looking quickly, where are we? August. Superman Son of Kal-El was supposed to come out August 10th, so that was delayed 2 weeks. But yeah, Superman vs. Lobo, Superman 78, Action Comics, Batman Superman. Also out this week, it's out next week, Infinite Frontier. But yeah, a lot of books out this week, especially the 2 #1s in Superman 78 and Superman vs. Lobo.
I'm looking forward to one of those.
Yeah, and Mark Lax, who is a regular on our show and speaks to us, has rejoined the reviewing ranks and is reviewing the Superman 78 book for us. So looking forward to reading the review. So well done to Mark. I know he's been dealing with some issues with some of the major storms and twisters and tornadoes, what have you, being hit in some areas of the US. So I hope you and your families are all safe in those locations.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a hurricane up in the Northeast.
So, yeah, some interesting times for those people. Stay safe, everyone out there. All right, just quickly before we wrap the show tonight, there is some new confectionery, I guess you call it out there. It's a snack. It's a kid's snack. It's called Funables. They are available from Walmart and other places. It says real fruit puree. So some snacks, fruit snacks. I don't know if that's up your alley, but if you're interested, they are out in stores now.
I like gummy snacks, but usually the ones that are like, say, real fruit puree have a really, really weird texture to them.
Fair enough. So, yeah, if you're interested, go check those out. But that pretty much brings us to the end of today's show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to tonight's episode of Superman Homepage Live. We want to thank everyone in the comments for your participation and for watching the show live. I want to thank my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, pleasure as always, Steve.
And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And remember, if you'd like to support Superman Homepage, just click the join button below right there on YouTube. But Michael and I will be back next week on Monday, August 30th for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We look forward to talking to you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all the daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.